Okay, so have I got a treat for you? We have got a two-parter. The first one is going to be a lot more around the sciencey stuff, and then the second one is going to be an interview because I realized both of them were really long and took too long, so I thought we'll do a two-parter. So today is part one. Next week will be part two, so tune back in and we will see how we go. Well, this is a bit of a fun edition, and I have a special guest joining us today, and I'm quite excited. Did you know that one study found that 50% of neurodiverse couples had no sexual activity at all? And intimacy in neurodivergent relationships, especially when autism and ADHD, what we lovingly call AuDHD, are involved, it can feel confusing, intense, and even a little bit like rocket science. If you've never felt like your love life came with a manual or it's in a different language, you are not alone. Hopefully by the end of this video, you'll understand why relationships and intimacy can be really tricky with autism and ADHD, and kind of like what the research-backed tips for building stronger, more connected, neurodiverse relationships is. So hi, kia ora. I'm Nicola. I am your neurofabulous friend. I am late diagnosed AuDHD myself, which means I have lived the awkward misunderstandings, sensory overload, and communication mix-ups firsthand. And trust me, I've been through the ups and downs. Hilarious mix-ups of neurodivergent love. Like I totally once missed a come cuddle hint because my ADHD was hyper focused on reorganizing a bookshelf in color order. Oopsies. I've done homework and found what really helps, and I'm here to share both the science and some personal stories so you can also thrive in your own relationships. Just as a note, this video is going to break down some of the unique challenges AuDHD couples face, from sensory sensitivities to communication clashes, and we'll talk about some unique strengths and solutions that can also make your relationship deeply rewarding. So stick around and you'll learn how to turn those so-called quirks into a love language of your own. So if you're excited to build a better neurodivergent relationship, go ahead, please hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell. I've also got a ton of freebies down below for you because we are heading into the beautiful season of Valentine's Day. So a couple of freebies down below. We've got 10 affirmations for neurodivergent couples and also like the fun question game. And you're going to find out about that in a little while as well. It's free, handy guide full of kind of like uplifting reminders for you and your partner to use every day to stay connected and understood. All right, let's get in. So the first, what do we mean by AuDHD? AuDHD is a term for people that have both autism and ADHD traits, basically double scoop of neurodivergence. It's also a comorbidity, and it's more common than you might think. Research shows anywhere between 50 to 70% of autistic people also have ADHD. So if you or your partner are rocking that autism ADHD combo, you are in good company. AuDHD wasn't even formally recognized until recently, so you couldn't actually be diagnosed with both until 2013, but now we know it's a very real experience. This overlap matters because having two neurodivergent profiles at once can really heighten the way you experience the world. Think of it like running two operating systems in one computer, a little complex, right? So for example, as an AuDHDer, I sometimes get super overstimulated by my environment, even more than someone with autism alone. Or my autistic side notices every little detail and my ADHD struggles to filter those details out. So suddenly the buzzing of the fridge and the flickering light becomes a whole symphony of distractions. Now, imagine how that might play out when you're trying to enjoy a quiet date night, where you're trying to create intimacy or, create connection. It can be a lot. So understanding this AuDHD lens lets both you and your partner kind of give each other a little bit more grace. You're not too sensitive, you're not too distracted. Your brain just works differently, and that's okay. Importantly, Being neurodivergent means we experience love and connection differently too. Not wrong, just different. Autistic individuals, for instance, often value honesty, clarity, acceptance deeply in a relationship. We tend to communicate in a very direct or literal way, no mind games, and expect the same in return. ADHD folks, on the other hand, might bring lots of energy and humor and spontaneity into love. ADHD brains thrive on novelty and can spark endless fun ideas in a relationship. And it's a pretty awesome combo when you think about it. One partner might offer, calm kind of structure, while another brings passion and playfulness, kind of balancing each other out. In fact, some research suggests that adults with ADHD or AuDHD can experience passionate love even more intensely than neurotypical people. Intensity is kind of our thing, for better or worse. The key is figuring out how to mesh these different kind of rhythms in a way that works for both you and your partner or significant other or friends. Now, before we dive into the challenges, here's a reassuring fact. Neurodivergent relationships can be deeply fulfilling. They often have incredible strengths like loyalty, honesty, creativity, and a unique understanding of each other's quirks. So, if anything we talk about next feels a little heavy, remember there's a bright side too. So, let's look at kind of what tends to trip us up and how to get past it. Now, if you're finding this video helpful or eye-opening, give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments what has resonated with you. Have you had an aha moment about your relationship? I'd love to hear it. And don't forget to grab your free kind of guide in the description below. I'm here to celebrate your neurodiverse love story every day. So let's start with some challenges. Intimacy challenges in neurodiversity or neurodivergent relationships. So let's talk intimacy, emotional and physical. Why can it feel so hard sometimes for neurodivergent couples? There's a couple of common challenges, and it's backed by research and a dose of personal experience. There is definitely communication clashes. You might feel like you and your partner are speaking different languages, even though you both technically speak English. Welcome to neurodivergent communication. Autistic partners tend to be direct communicators, saying exactly what they mean and expecting the same. Neurotypical partners, by contrast, often rely on subtle hints or unspoken cues. This mismatch can lead to missed signals and hurt feelings. For example, I once told my partner, I need some quiet time, and plopped down on the couch alone. He thought I was upset with him, and we will speak to him later. But really, I just needed to mentally recharge. I said what I needed, but the tone, probably flat, autism, whoops, didn't convey we're okay. But on the flip side, ADHD can cause communication hiccups too. Things like impulsivity, interrupting, or zoning out mid conversations are classic ADHD moves. You might know it's just your brain hopping around, squirrel. But your partner might feel ignored or talked over. And the amount of times he's asked me not to finish his sentences because I'm like, that's the end of your sentence, and it's not.
We have arguments, but they're very much characterized by what are the logical steps we need to do to resolve this thing, and
Quickly, effectively, and without floof. It goes both ways. Research on the double empathy problem reminds us that miscommunication is a two-way street. Both the neurodivergent and neurotypical partners can struggle to understand each other's perspectives. The result, frustration on both sides. The fix, we'll go into solutions in a minute. So sensory sensitivities is another one. Intimacy often means closeness. Hugging, kissing, snuggling on the couch. But if you're a little spicy like I am, physical closeness isn't always as straightforward. Many autistic people have sensory differences, touch, sounds, lights. These can be super intense or overwhelming. And in fact, studies show about 80% of autistic partners are hypo or hypersensitive to sensations like touch, sound, smell. 80%. So if one of you gets startled by light touch or finds certain fabrics or a candle scent really distracting in the bedroom, it's not you being picky. It's a real neurological response. Sensory overload can kill the mood fast. You or your partner might suddenly feel discomfort, anxiety, or the need to back off. And I'll be real, I used to think I was bad at intimacy because sometimes mid-hug, I tense up or pull. I don't even like hugs. Let's just be quite honest about that. Don't hug me. I'd be tense or pull away, and I couldn't explain why. Now I know it was just my sensory system being like, nope, nope, thank you. Yeah, so that's one of them. Different needs for novelty and routine. Like if one of you has ADHD and the other is autistic, you might experience a funny tug of war in your relationship. ADHD brains often crave novelty and excitement. Autistic brains find comfort in routine and predictability. While neither is right or wrong, they're just different settings, but it can lead to conflict. Like one partner is bored and restless while the other is overwhelmed and needing a lot of calmness. So perhaps your ADHD side wants to try that new trendy restaurant for date night, but your autistic side or partner is getting anxious about unfamiliar environment, not knowing what's on the menu. Or in the bedroom, one might be eager to try new things, spicy, spicy, but the other might just prefer familiarity and gentle experiences. This contrast can cause friction if we don't acknowledge it or talk about it. And the good news is, together, we actually balance each other out. So one expert calls this the contrast and complement dynamic. One thrives in motion, the other in calm. Recognizing this means that you can intentionally mix stability and spontaneity in your life. More solutions soon, I promise. So there's also emotional regulation and expression. Emotional intimacy or feeling safe to be yourself with your partner can be hard to build when emotions themselves are all over the place. Autism and ADHD both come with their own emotional roller coasters. Autistic folks might experience meltdowns or shutdowns when overwhelmed. Those moments when the world is just too much and we either explode in tears or anger or go radio silent. Yikes. ADHDers have flash moods too, impulsive outbursts, big reaction, flare up, hello, rejection, sensitivity, and irritability. And when you put these things together, they can escalate fast. Studies have found that having both autism and ADHD is linked to frequent emotional dysregulation than either condition alone. And I'd like to say we feel things on max volume. In an argument, for example, the ADHD partner may raise their voice or chase down the issue aggressively, not to fight, but because their emotion is urgent, while the autistic partner might shut down and need to retreat in order to cope. You can see how that mismatch might create a cycle. One pushes, one pulls away. So unless you both understand what's happening, it can always kind of have this conflict. Relationship kind of track record of differences. This is an interesting one and a bit sobering. It's a bit of a sobering statistic. In a study with adults with autism or ADHD traits, the group with autistic traits had fewer people who were married and more who had never married, whereas the ADHD group had higher rates of divorce. Ouch. This doesn't mean you're destined for heartbreak. Not at all, but it reflects how, without support, neurodivergent individuals often struggle with traditional relationship milestones. Autistic adults might find it harder to start romantic relationships. Dating involves so many unwritten rules and social cues, and it's harder to even start romantic relationships. Like, while ADHD adults might fall in love quickly, but struggle with long-term stability. In fact, couples with ADHD report nearly double the relationship dissatisfaction compared to non-ADHD couples. That could be due to ADHD traits like forgetfulness, impulsivity, or inconsistency, causing conflict over time. And as we just noted, autism can make it tough to get even get onto the relationship ladder in the first place. What all of this tells us is these challenges are common. It's not just you, it's not just me. And it also tells us that being aware of them is crucial so you can kind of actively work against those odds. So now let's talk a little bit about spicy time. Sex. I'm talking about sex. Physical intimacy and sex. Let's get really candid. Sex and physical affection can be a stumbling block for neurodiverse couples. We already touched on sensory issues. Add to that differences in libido or approach to sex. It's not unusual for neurodivergent partners to have mismatched sex drives or difficulties initiating intimacy. All couples can have different libido levels, but it can be especially pronounced when you mix neurotypes. One partner might want sex more frequently, while another is often in the don't touch me, I am overstimulated mode. And because reading each other's signals isn't always intuitive for us, a lot goes unspoken. So, one counseling source notes that negotiating a libido mismatch often gets derailed by subtle nonverbal cues, which a neurodivergent partner might completely miss. So, as a result, one person feels rejected, the other feels pressured, and neither knows how to talk about it. And this is exactly how some couples end up in that 50% statistic of having little to no sexual activity. The topic becomes so sensitive that they avoid it entirely. And it's heartbreaking because both usually do desire closeness. They just don't know how to bridge the gap. And if one partner is autistic and has had fewer relationship experiences, quite common, as many autistic adults date later in life or less frequently, they might also have more limited understanding of how to navigate sexual relationships. And that can lead to unrealistic expectations, like thinking love must look like the movies, or not knowing how to assert boundaries or desires. Okay, so phew, that was a lot of challenges. If you're nodding along to some of these, you might be feeling a mix of relief, it's not just us, or concern. Okay, how do we fix this? Take a deep breath. We're going to dive into some solutions and strategies now. And the great thing is that once you identify an issue, like you can absolutely take steps to improve it. And remember, every challenge is just the flip side of a strength. Neurodivergent love might require some extra communication and creativity, but it also offers authenticity, depth, and yes, plenty of laughter and warmth along the way. Now, if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe for more videos on living your best neurodivergent life and hit the like button if this is valuable for you. And hey, share it with a friend or your partner who might benefit. Let's spread this understanding. Okay, onto the good stuff. Making intimacy work. So, time to kind of flip the script, pun intended, and look how we thrive in your AuDHD or neurodiverse relationship. Every couple is unique, but these strategies can set you on the right path. So, let's talk radical communication. Say it out loud. Our first big tip is don't leave things to chance or vibes. Spell it out. What do you mean? Well, neurotypical couples often rely on implication and body language, but research and therapy experts suggest that neurodiverse couples do best with very clear and direct communication. If something is important to you, whether it's you need to literally ask me before hugging me, or I really love it when you text me cute messages during the day, say it with the words. Don't assume the other person just knows. And this applies double in the bedroom. If nonverbal cues get lost, intimacy can feel mechanical or disconnected. So talk about what you enjoy. It can feel uncomfortable at first, but the more you get used to it, it's cracking. So, what certain looks or touches mean or don't mean, and even how to initiate sex in a way that works for both of you. It might feel awkward at first. You want us to talk about how we kiss? But trust me, it can be kind and fun, and it definitely helps. So many couples actually feel relieved and closer when they replace guesswork with honest dialogue. Consider coming up with code words or safe words for sensitive situations. So, my partner, who you'll meet in a bit, always believes that he's in trouble with me. Like I'm always grumpy with him. I'm not, but he just assumes that I am. So now if I say I've got bullet points, and then I'll list the bullet points of what I am grumpy about. But if I don't have bullet points, then he knows it's just something going on with me. It's not a him issue. Um, so there's also ways for me to say, look, I'm actually just really overwhelmed right now and anxious during an argument or even during intimacy. It's a pause button. Hey, I need to stop and regroup, but I love you and we're okay. This prevents misinterpretation. And you just need to find your own version of that. The key is to create signals that are really clear and understood by you both. Creating sensory friendly intimacy. Remember those like sensory sensitivities? Address them openly outside of sexual moments. A great tip from tons of therapists is talk about sensory needs when you're not in the middle of intimacy, when you're both calm. For example, maybe set aside a casual afternoon to chat. Hey, I realize certain touches or noises really bother me. Can we find ways to make our space more comfortable? Brainstorm together, dimmer lights, soft blankets, using noise cancelling headphones for the partner who hates city noise during cuddle time. And yes, I've done this. Mood music for me is sometimes no music, silence. My love language is silence. By framing it as how can we make this enjoyable for both of us, you turn it into a teamwork exercise rather than a blame game or something. If something sensory does go wrong in the heat of moments and one of you gets overstimulated and has to pull it away, agree that it's okay to pause and adjust. Maybe different texture, approach, just a break. It's not shameful. There's no guilt. You're just listening to each other's bodies, and that's really special and intimate anyway. Let's talk about novelty and routine. For ADHD versus autism, there's a pacing issue here. Make it a point to compromise and alternate. If one person thrives on routine and the other spontaneity, you can literally schedule in spontaneity. I know it sounds paradoxical, please, but it works. For instance, have a predictable structure to your week. Say, doing quiet dinner and a movie at home on Fridays to decompress, but designate Saturday afternoons for something new and adventurous together, day trip, trying a new hobby. That way, the ADHD partner gets their dose of novelty, and the autistic partner knows that it's coming and can mentally prepare. So, like in daily life, the structured partner can really help create helpful routines like a shared calendar or a chore list, handle life logistics. And the spontaneous partner can remind you that you both need to break the monotony when things get stale. Instead of seeing each other's style as nuisance, view it as an asset because together you both order, like you like both order and excitement. It's a recipe for just so much fun. One couple I know let's call them Alex and Sam, embody this. Sam, ADHD, brings the goofy surprise dates. Alex, autistic, ensures that bills are paid and that the schedule isn't pure chaos. It's teamwork for the win. All right, let's talk about educating and laughing together. This one's more of a mindset tip, but make learning about your neurodivergence a team activity. Watch videos or read articles together about autism. Send each other reels about it, like these. Um, like the reason behind sensory overload or the infamous ADHD time blindness can make you both go, oh, that's why that happens. Oh, it replaces blame with understanding. And maybe you discover that your partner isn't purposefully leaving you out when they monologue about a hobby for an hour. It's a hyper focus thing and actually a sign that they feel comfortable with you. Or that your habit of needing to pace around the house is an ADHD self soothing mechanism, not you ignoring them. Knowledge is power and it brings empathy. Also, don't forget to keep a sense of humor. Some of our daily mishaps are objectively pretty funny. Like, I've locked my keys somewhere. Please, we lose keys daily. Then I can count. But, when we're super methodical, leaving, we lovingly tease each other about where the keys are at the moment. Keys, phone, brain, check. And you know what? It's a silly ritual rather than a fight. So if you can laugh at the absolute absurdities together, you've won half the battle. So I realize that's a lot of tips in one go. And to summarize this section in a nutshell, communicate clearly, accommodate each other's senses, plan for challenges, and cherish the fuck out of each other's quirks. Like, you'll be amazed at how many issues can be solved or at least softened by simply just acknowledging, hey, our brains work differently. So let's find our way of doing this. And there's no one size fits all in love. Like, that's especially true for neurodivergent love. I feel like we've all watched Love on the Spectrum. See. So, to wrap up, I want you to remember this. Neurodivergent relationships are not defined by their challenges, but how you grow together through them. Autism, ADHD, AuDHD, these are just parts of who you are. They make your relationship different, yes, but different can also be beautiful. And with that understanding and patience and dash of creativity, you can cultivate incredible intimacy, the kind where you both feel seen and heard and adored for who you really are. The research we discussed shows that while we might hit more bumps on the road, we also love with great passion and authenticity. So thank you so much for spending time with me today and diving into this topic. I hope you're walking away with some new insights, practical tips, and maybe a smile or two. And if this video spoke to you, please like and subscribe so we can keep growing this neurodivergent community. And don't forget to download your freebie. The link is waiting for you in the description. Use those affirmations to remind yourselves daily that your relationship is awesome in its own unique way. Thanks for watching and being part of this journey to understand neurodiverse love. If you enjoyed this, hit the subscribe button. I'd love to have you in the community. Check out the other videos popping up here on the end screen for more tips and tricks around living your neurodivergent life to the fullest, and grab the free affirmations download. Drop a comment about what topic you'd like to see next, and remember, different brains, same love. You got this. Take beautiful care, my neurofabulous friends, and I'll see you next week.